Subscribe to Man Told for more stories. Now let's begin this one. I came back after 3 years away, only to hear laughter in my house that didn't belong to my son. Two strange cars blocked the driveway. The birthday gift in my hand turned cold. I had imagined this moment 100 times. My boy running to me, Emily in tears. But instead, I was greeted by a stranger's laugh drifting from upstairs. I froze. The old porch swing creaked in the wind. 3 years ago, Emily and I sat there on a summer night, sharing a cheap pizza, dreaming of this house filled with children's laughter. But the laughter I heard now twisted my chest, because it wasn't my son's voice. I stepped closer. The key shook in my hand. I told myself, maybe it's just friends. Maybe Emily was watching someone else's kid. I wanted to believe that, because belief was the only thing I had left after 3 years away. And then, her voice. Gentle. Warm. The voice I had longed for all this time. But it wasn't for me. It was followed by a man's laugh. Deep. Intimate. I stopped. My vision blurred. The key in my hand felt like a blade against my skin. I had survived gunfire. I had watched brothers fall beside me. But never had my heart pounded like this. Like it was tearing my chest wide open. I couldn't open the door. Because I knew, once it opened, I'd never see my home the same way again. 3 years on the battlefield couldn't break me. But one stranger's laugh inside my own home was enough to bring me to my knees. What I didn't know, that moment was just the first crack. The beginning of losses far harsher than any war I had ever faced. My name is Blake. I'm 34, born and raised in a small town in South Texas. The town had nothing special. Summers so hot the asphalt melted under your shoes. Winters with wind cutting through wooden doors. And dusty red roads everywhere. But to me, it was home. The place I thought I'd live, grow old, and be buried in. I joined the Army in my early 20s. At first, the reason was simple. To escape that small town. To make my parents proud. And to give Emily, the girl I loved, a better future. We got married when I was 26. It wasn't a fairy tale wedding. Her dress was borrowed. The flowers were picked from the roadside. But I had never seen her more beautiful. I thought, as long as she was with me, nothing else mattered. The first years of marriage, we lived in an old apartment. Walls peeling. The roof leaking every time it rained. I used to joke that a thief wouldn't need to break in. They could just wait for the walls to collapse. Emily hated when I said that. But then, she'd laugh. We didn't have much, yet every night, we sat on the floor, eating cheap pizza, watching a tiny TV that barely worked. Sometimes, I even forgot our anniversary. She'd be mad for a week, then laugh it off, saying, "As long as you come home, I'll forgive you." 2 years later, our son was born, Noah. I'd never been that nervous in my life, holding something so small, so fragile. His first cry drowned out everything else, and I swore right there I would protect him and his mother, no matter what. From then on, every mission I went on, I carried a handkerchief Emily had made. She stitched the letter B in the corner. Whenever I saw blood or smoke or heard gunfire, I gripped that cloth tight. It reminded me someone was waiting at home. Emily was a literature teacher. She always said I was too dry, never flowers, never love letters. I was clumsy, always choosing the wrong color for gifts. But what gave me peace was this. No matter how small our fights were, at the end of the night, Emily was still there, typing lesson plans on her old laptop. And Noah, crawling around laughing. I thought those flaws were nothing. But looking back, maybe they were the first cracks. Small, harmless, but cracks that one day would bring the whole house down. Life got busier after Noah was born, but also full of moments that made everything worth it. I could endure the hardest training days, as long as I got to hear Noah's laughter over the phone. Emily was different. She always worried. Once during a call, I asked, "Are you okay?" She was silent for a few seconds, then whispered, "Yeah, I'm fine. You take care of yourself." That short answer cut deep. She didn't want to burden me, but in her voice, I heard a distance growing. There's one memory that still haunts me. Noah's first birthday. I had promised I'd be there, but a mission came up. I couldn't go. I called home that night. On the screen, Noah was blowing out the candle, Emily holding him, forcing a smile. After the party, it was just us on the call. She whispered, "Blake, He said Daddy last night. But not for you. He was looking at our neighbor's picture. My throat closed up. I wanted to scream how much it hurt, but I stayed silent. For the first time, I felt I was losing everything that mattered, even though I was still alive. Time went on. Emily's letters grew shorter, sometimes just a few lines about Noah. In the photos, her smile wasn't the same. It had lost the light I once loved. I told myself, she's just tired. Once I come home, everything will be okay. The day of my flight back, I packed a gift for her, a silver necklace with her name engraved. I even wrote a letter, pages long, promising I'd be there from now on, that she wouldn't have to carry it all alone anymore. On the plane, I pictured giving her that gift, handing her the letter, hearing her cry, then smile again, like before. What I didn't know was that while I was writing every word with all the love I had left, back home, Emily had already changed. And when I returned, with the letter still in my hand, the laughter inside that house tore every word apart. When I opened the door, I saw 2 half-empty glasses of wine on the table, one of them with a faint red lipstick mark, not the kind Emily ever wore with me. On the chair, a man's dark coat. At the doorway, a pair of large sneakers, still muddy. My heart sank. This house, once my safe place, now felt like a crime scene, and I was the intruder. Emily. I called. Footsteps stopped upstairs. She appeared, hair tied in a rush, a loose sweater. Her smile curved just enough at the lips, but her eyes looked away. "You're home? I thought you were coming tomorrow." I handed her the birthday gift. She took it, said thanks softly, set it aside. My eyes stopped at the coat. Was someone here? Plumber. He just left. Too quick. Too sharp. Before I could respond, the phone on the table lit up. A message flashed. "I'm on the porch." "You okay?" Emily turned it off in a hurry. He must have left his phone. I didn't say a word, but my trust cracked like shattered glass. In the bathroom, a new toothbrush, a bottle of cedarwood body wash, cap still wet, the same scent clinging to the coat outside. I gripped the old handkerchief Emily once gave me. It felt foreign now, like a charm that had lost its power. That night, she said Noah was staying over next door. I nodded. Slept on the couch. The truth was, I was scared of my own bedroom, scared of what I might find inside. The next morning, I drove Noah to school. He hesitated for a second when he saw me, then ran into my arms. That hug, warm but distant, as if I were just a guest. "Did you miss me?" I asked. "Yeah. Coach Mike told me to count stars when I miss you." I froze. "A coach? Who?" "Coach Mike. He picks me up sometimes, with Mom." His innocent words cut deep. Not just another man's presence, but me being replaced as a father. That afternoon, I checked our bank account. Small withdrawals. Every evening, notes, errand. I texted her, "I'll cover the bills." She replied, "I'll handle it." Short, cold, empty. That night, I changed the battery on the doorbell camera. The history was blank for months. Someone had turned it off. The silence on that screen felt like someone had blinded me in my own house. Old Mr. Parker, my neighbor, mentioned it casually. "There's a gray pickup that parks out front a lot. Must be a friend." I smiled weakly, but inside, my chest dropped into ice. Late that night, I found a black hoodie in the laundry. From the pocket, a movie ticket. 2 seats. Thursday night, I sat on the floor, papers shaking in my hand. I thought I was the only one sharing life with Emily. But that slip of paper told me otherwise. My phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "You okay?" With a blue heart, I stared at the ceiling. It was clear. I wasn't the center of Emily's world anymore. I was just a guest, watching my family slip away. The next morning, I cooked breakfast. Set a plate of eggs in front of her. She glanced once, nodded, fingers glued to her phone. "Good?" I asked. "Yeah, it's fine." Her tone flat, like I was just a roommate, not her husband. When I stepped onto the porch, the doorbell camera glowed green with the new battery, but the history was still wiped clean. Every trace erased, and I felt erased with it. At noon, I picked Noah up from school. He ran out, waving a brand new comic. "Look, Dad. Coach Mike signed it for me." On the first page, for Noah, from Coach M. Strong handwriting. I forced a smile. but inside, hollow. Who gave you that? Coach Mike. He said if I'm good, he'll take me to play soccer. Noah laughed, clutching the book. And I realized all the love and care I failed to give while away, someone else was giving to him. That evening, I was cutting grass when a gray pickup drove by. Window rolled halfway down, a man's hand resting on the wheel. I watched as it turned the corner. My heart turned cold. Mr. Parker was right. That night, I played blocks with Noah. Emily texted she'd be late. Tutoring. When Noah slept, I opened her birthday gift. The silver necklace I had chosen so carefully, still untouched. I held it in my hand, cold, and I laughed bitterly. Maybe someone else already gave her a gift, one that made her forget mine. Around 10, the door opened. Emily walked in, the scent of a new perfume filling the air. How was class? I asked. Fine. I'm tired. She went straight to the bathroom. When she set her phone on the counter, the screen lit up. Thanks for tonight. Next time, I'll walk you to the door. No name, just a number, but I knew there was nothing random anymore. The next day, I went to the bank, printed every statement. Each withdrawal was from the ATM near the theater, and the Italian restaurant she once said she hated. Now it appeared again and again. That afternoon, I drove past the soccer field. I saw him, tall, early 30s, clean haircut, training the kids. Noah, he shouted, and my boy ran into his arms. Coach Mike. I froze. That hug? It should have been mine. But I had been gone too long, and now a stranger had taken my place. When he looked up, our eyes met. For a moment, I saw guilt. Then he nodded politely and turned back to the children. I nodded back, swallowing the storm inside me. That night, I asked Emily, Noah likes Coach Mike, huh? How do you know him? She hesitated, then said quickly, he's just the school coach. Noah loves soccer. I nodded. Didn't press further, but the puzzle was almost complete. The coat, the shoes, the cedarwood scent, the movie ticket, the messages, and now, Coach Mike. That night, I opened my notebook. I taped the ticket inside. Wrote, Thursday night. Emily said tutoring. Another line, text, I'll be there soon. Don't worry. I looked up at our wedding photo on the wall, both of us smiling, holding hands. But now, all I could see was distance, an empty space between us. I whispered, maybe. I've been out of this picture for a long time. And then, my phone buzzed. A new message from that same number. I'll be there soon. Don't worry. I dropped my pen, sat in silence. The darkness in the room grew heavier, wrapping around me, and I knew a string was pulling tighter, closer to breaking. And when it breaks, I will lose everything. After that message, I'll be there soon. I felt like I was living inside invisible walls. Emily was there, but she was already gone. I heard her laughter, but it wasn't the sound that once pulled me through long, tired days. It felt like a closed door, a light inside I could see, but could never enter. One night, when she closed her laptop, I asked, Emily, is there something you want to tell me? Be honest? We promised no secrets. She was silent. Then her eyes turned cold. You suffocate me, Blake. You only doubt me. Have you ever really listened to me? I froze. For years, I thought I was the one who listened. But with one sentence, I was pushed out like a stranger. The next day, I tried to fix it. I took Emily and Noah to the restaurant where we once celebrated our anniversary. I hoped the taste, the warm yellow lights, would bring us back. Noah laughed, telling school stories. I forced myself to smile. When I raised my glass, to us, to our family, Emily clinked glasses, but her eyes were on her phone. A message flashed. Miss you, M. She shut it quickly, but I saw the wine in my hand shook, spilled at the edge of the table. I smiled weakly, while something inside me was crushed. That night, I couldn't sleep. I opened the drawer, took out the black notebook, wrote, Anniversary restaurant, message from Emma. My handwriting shook. I didn't know if I was keeping a journal or writing an obituary for our marriage. The next day, I picked Noah up early, and I saw her, Emily, standing with Coach Mike at the field. Her hand brushed his sleeve as she laughed. Just a touch, but in marriage, sometimes a touch says more than 1,000 words. When she noticed me, her smile vanished. You're early. I wanted to pick Noah up, I said. eyes fixed on hers. She stayed quiet. That uneasy smile told me everything. That night, when Noah was asleep, I tried again. Emily, I need the truth. I see the way you look at him. It's not how you used to look at me. She bit her lip. And instead of denying it, she whispered, "At least he listens?" My heart shattered. I didn't shout, didn't slam the table. I just sat there, letting those words echo in my head 1,000 times. The next morning, I passed Noah's room. He was laughing. On his iPad, a video call. Coach Mike's face on the screen. "Uncle Mike?" I finished my homework. I could barely breathe. My own son, calling another man uncle. Closer than he ever called me. "Noah, who's that?" "Uncle Mike? He's good at math. He helps me with homework." I smiled weakly and walked away. But inside, I knew. I wasn't just losing my wife. I was losing my son. That night, while Emily showered, I cleaned her car. In the trunk, a man's hoodie. The same cedarwood scent drifting out. I didn't need to guess anymore. The puzzle was complete. When she walked out, hair still wet, I held it up. "Whose is this?" She froze, fear in her eyes. Then coldness. "A colleague's?" I borrowed it. "Don't treat me like a fool, Emily. I know this scent. On the coat, in the house, even on your skin." She turned away. "I'm tired, Blake." "You're tired. Let's stop here." It wasn't a confession. It wasn't a denial. It was the end. From that night on, only short exchanges filled our home. "Noah eaten yet? You picking him up?" Porch lights broken. No laughter. No searching eyes. Just two strangers sharing a house. Silent, because even arguing took too much. One night, she lay with her back to me. The space between us, only an arm's length. But it felt like miles. I wanted to reach out, to ask, "Do you still need me?" But my hand froze. I was afraid of the answer. My phone buzzed. Another message. "I'll be there soon. Don't worry." The screen glowed in the dark, then went black. I knew. The string had stretched to its limit. And when it snapped, I would lose everything. For weeks after that message, I lived like a ghost in my own house. Emily came home later and later. Her excuses wore thin. Projects at work, dinner with colleagues, late meetings. But sometimes, when she walked in, I smelled a man's cologne in her hair. A scent Noah once said, "Smells like Coach Mike at the field." I didn't ask anymore. I just watched. I wrote things down, each detail slowly building the full picture. And then one night, I decided not to sleep. I parked near her office, lights off. Just waiting. Close to midnight, she walked out. Not alone. Mike was there. He opened the car door for her. The streetlight caught both their faces. They didn't hold hands. They didn't kiss. But the space between them was too close. Too close for any denial. My chest pounded. I followed. They stopped at a dim little cafe. Through the glass, I saw Mike hand her a small box. She opened it. A necklace. The design almost matched our wedding bands. Only this time, it shined in his hands. Not mine. I gripped the wheel until my fingers turned white. A few nights later, I got my chance. Noah was at a friend's. Emily said she'd be late. I waited. The sound of an engine outside. That gray pickup. Mike at the wheel. Emily beside him. I stepped out, my voice lower than I recognized. "Mike, get out of the truck." He froze. Emily gasped. "Blake, no, don't do this." But I didn't yell. I didn't rush forward. I stood there, like a judge, waiting for the truth. Mike stepped out, eyes down. "How long?" I asked. Emily trembled, tears filling her eyes. But tears can't hide the truth. Mike lowered his head. His silence was the answer. I clenched my fist. "You let my son call you uncle, and this is how you repay me," Mike stammered. "Blake, I didn't mean—" Emily just needed someone to— I cut him off, my voice like ice. "Enough." The only one she should have needed was her husband. "But the two of you, cut me out yourselves." Emily broke down, sobbing. "I'm sorry, Blake, but can't you see? We've been apart for so long. Mike was just the reason I realized I don't love you the same anymore." My chest exploded. I thought I would collapse right there. But she wasn't finished. "You're not a bad man. You're just not the man I need." That sentence was the execution. No shouting. No blame. Just final. I gave a hollow laugh. My eyes dry. "And that necklace. A promise. A new beginning. Without me. Her hand rose unconsciously to her collar, touching the chain hidden beneath. That gesture was her confession. The air grew heavy. I turned away. Mike slipped back into his truck, drove off. Emily followed me inside, her eyes red. I looked at her, my voice like lead. "What do you want, Emily? The truth or the end?" She sat, trembling. "Blake," I tried, "but I'm tired. I'm not the girl who once dreamed of this house. I want freedom. I want to breathe." I clenched my teeth, and in my head I heard Noah's innocent voice. "Uncle Mike helps me with math, Dad." I saw the future. My son growing up, looking at another man as his model. That was the pain I couldn't bear. I exhaled, then spoke. "I can't force you to love me, but I can choose how to let go. I won't let Noah be a victim. If you want to leave, then leave. But remember this, Noah has a father, and it will never be Mike." Emily cried, covering her face. I stood tall. No begging, no more holding on. That night, I sat until dawn, and when the first light broke through the window, I knew. I had lost my wife, but not myself, and I would not lose my son. After the night the truth came out, the house fell silent. No more arguments, no more excuses, just 3 people under one roof, each living in a different world. Emily moved into another room. One night, Noah asked, "Dad, why isn't Mom sleeping with you anymore?" My throat tightened. I forced my voice steady. "Because Mom and Dad need some time to think, son." He nodded, but in his eyes, I saw a fear he couldn't name. In the days that followed, I poured everything into my boys, driving him to school, kicking the ball around, telling bedtime stories. But sometimes, when he laughed, he would turn, searching for her, and I realized his smile was only half there. That hurt more than any betrayal. One night, after Noah slept, I walked into Emily's room. She sat by the window, shoulders bent, moonlight across her tired face. I asked, calm this time, "Do you still want to save this, Emily?" She stayed silent, then shook her head, tears falling. "I'm sorry, Blake. I can't. I've gone too far, and I don't belong here anymore." I nodded. It hurt, but it wasn't a surprise. "And Noah?" I asked. Her voice broke. "I'll always be his mother. But you're stronger than me. You're the anchor. I don't want to take him from you. I just don't have the strength to be your wife anymore." Her words cut deep, but I couldn't deny they were true. The next day, she spoke to Noah. I listened from the hallway. "Where are you going, Mom? Aren't you staying with me?" Her voice cracked. "I'll always be with you, sweetheart. Just not every day. I'm sorry." Noah's cry split through the house. Emily's trembling whispers, trying to comfort him. And for the first time, I had to hold the wall to keep from falling. When she walked out, holding him tight, she didn't dare look at me. Her shoulders shook all the way. The day we signed the divorce papers, I sat staring at the form, pen in hand, my heart racing before the ink even touched the page. Flashes of family dinners, trips, Emily's laughter from years ago, all of it crashed back. For a moment, I almost set the pen down, almost said, "Let's try again." But then, I heard Noah's voice in my head. "Dad, I just want both of you together." I knew forcing it would only hurt him more. So I gripped the pen, handshaking, signed my name, the lines uneven, but final. When I walked out of the courthouse, I pulled the black notebook from my bag, the one filled with every suspicion, every detail. I tore the pages, dropped them in the trash, not to forget, but because I refused to live chained to them anymore. Weeks later, Emily moved out. Noah stayed with me most of the time. He cried often at first, but slowly he adjusted. One afternoon at the field, I saw Mike from a distance. He didn't come near, didn't dare. I rested my hand on my son's shoulder, whispered, "Noah, no matter what happens, I'll always be here. No one will ever replace your dad." He looked at me for a long moment, then hugged me tight. That night, after he slept, I took down the family photo from the wall. Emily's bright smile, Noah holding both our hands. I placed it in a wooden box, locked it away, not to erase it, but to keep it as a closed chapter. Before bed, I opened a new notebook and wrote the first line. "I lost my wife, but I still have Noah, and I still have myself." That's enough to begin again. Life after Emily left didn't collapse the way I thought it would. It was quieter, lonelier. But it opened spaces. Spaces I had to learn how to fill. Every morning, I brewed coffee, made breakfast for Noah. The kitchen no longer echoed with her laughter, but it was still warm. Because of my boy's bright eyes, I began to believe. A home doesn't have to be whole to be happy, as long as there's real love inside. Some nights, Noah held me tight and asked, "Dad, is Mom coming back?" I stayed silent for a long time, my chest aching, then whispered, "I don't know, son, but I do know your mom still loves you, and I will always be here, with you." He nodded, tears in his eyes. Then he said something so simple it broke me. "Dad, if I have you, maybe that's enough." I froze, and the tear I'd held back for days finally fell. I started living again. Camping trips, fishing, kicking the ball with Noah. Once he played an old video. Emily's laughter filled the room. The same laugh I once lived for. It hit me like a blade. Noah looked at me and whispered, "I miss Mom." I nodded. "I do too." Those moments reminded me, healing isn't a straight line. It's slow steps, stumbles, nights when you cry in the dark. But every time I looked into Noah's eyes, and I knew I had to stand up again. One night, while cleaning the house, I found a small box. Inside, the wedding ring I never gave her, still shining, but cold. I closed it, placed it in the deepest drawer, not to forget, but to remember that once there was love, and it was beautiful enough to treasure, even if it's gone. That night, I opened my new notebook, and I wrote the last line. Some losses never leave. They stay like scars that never heal. But every morning, when a small hand holds mine, I know I still have a reason to go on. I closed the book, looked out the window. The city lights kept burning. The noise never stopped, indifferent to one man's pain. But inside me, there was another light, small, but enough to guide me. Noah. Maybe loss isn't the period at the end of a story. Maybe it's just a comma, so I can keep writing the next line of my life.